Hello friends, hello again. So we continue with our series of theory lessons. This is lesson 2. This is the series in 6 hours. We complete the driving theory for Belgium Made Simple. My name is Anjum and I'm the author of the book Driving Theory for Belgium Made Simple, which is available on our site drivingtheory.com as well as on amazon.com. All right, so let's continue with the lesson 2. So we are still looking into intersections or junctions. In our previous video, we have covered about priority at intersections. So I will put the link in the description if you want to watch that video where we discussed about priority rules, traffic signs, everything about junction, most of the things that you need to know, what you need to know about the junction or when you are at the junction. So today we will move to the next part of this intersection. This is driving straight and turning. So we will look at driving movements, straight, going straight, crossing, and all those things. And we will look at turning right, turning left. What are the things we need to take care of when we are doing this turning right and turning left? And we will look at maneuvers, also very important. What are different maneuvers? Roundabout, and then we will do a quick overview of the traffic signs related to this topic. Okay, so let's continue with the topic. Okay, so driving straight and turning. So basically vehicles are moving. What does it mean? So they are crossing, they are turning right. This could be one of those things, crossing, turning right, turning left. They are overtaking, and whenever overtaking, always use indicators also for turning right, turning left. Okay, so at the intersections, what are the conditions? You must remember that at the intersection, always apply the priority rules. Okay, and the condition is never block the intersection. You must never stop your car at the intersection. If there is traffic jam, if there's traffic jam building up, stop before the intersection. Also, don't stop before parkings and places like this where people are exiting entrance to a property. So you should never block an intersection. So basically we have a photo here of two vehicles crossing. Crossing is driving in opposite directions. So this car is there, and this car, this Volkswagen on the right and Citroen on the left, they are crossing each other. That's as simple as it is. This is called as crossing. All right. So we need to know this concept because we will build up on crossing for the other topics as well. Now, some of the things that you should remember when you are doing a crossing, important for lesson exams, again, theory exams. Crossing happens always on the right. Okay, so you should always cross from the right. So because we are driving on the right, it's obvious that we cross from the right. So as you can see, these two cars are crossing each other. There's a car and the tram, they are also crossing each other. When you are crossing or regularly, generally, you should drive as far right as possible. So don't drive in the center or on the left. There is a lane. Let's say this is a road. So drive as right as possible on this road. If there was a lane, drive as right as possible on that lane. Now we will talk about different parts of this road later in this training. Okay, slow down and stop if you cannot move aside. For example, there is a cyclist and you cannot, there is a cyclist instead of this yellow car, there was a cyclist and you had to give place for the cyclist. So slow down and, if needed, you should stop and give way. Okay. You're allowed to use the level verge, roadside level verge. So we will talk about, as I said, parts of the road. That's part of this training. We'll talk about that later. So level verge is what you see here. There's also an elevated verge. For example, this one is an elevated verge. This is basically, it could be a footpath or sidewalk. So always remember, you're always allowed to take the level verge. I mean, if there is no place on the road, you are allowed to ride to the right a little bit on the level verge and continue driving. Okay, so level verge within built up area, outside built up area, it doesn't matter. You can always drive on the level verge, but not on an elevated verge. There are different conditions for that. We will talk about that later. So let's move. Never use the sidewalk or cycle path to pass. Absolutely prohibited. If you do this, you will fail the exam in practical. So this is sidewalk, and you should never use the sidewalk to cross over. If there if there is an obstruction, if there is an obstacle in your direction, you should still never use it. So let's say there was a bicycle lane here. You should never use bicycle lane or the sidewalk. Sidewalk is usually the elevated verge. Okay, these are not part of the road. You should never drive on those bicycle lane or the elevated verge. You are allowed to cross them, but you should never continue driving on them. Okay, then when there is a narrow passage, the one whose lane is obstructed must stop and give way. This is the priority rule. So here there is an obstacle, or there is an obstruction in your way. So you must stop and give priority to the traffic that's coming from the opposite direction. All right. Crossing tram, again the same concept. You will always cross the tram from the right. Okay, and you are allowed to cross the tram from the left if there is an obstacle in your way. Okay, if the carriageway is another name for the road. You will hear this when you are doing the exam. So a part of the road, this is a carriageway. That's the hardened part of the road where vehicles are allowed to drive. Okay, if it is too narrow, use the side strip or verge without endangering the road users. Like in this example, you can drive on the level verge. Okay, so to continue crossing each other. I hope it is clear. Let's move to the next slide. Now here we will look at turning right. So activate the indicator in time. When you are turning right, pay attention to these things. You must let the traffic behind you know well ahead of time that you have an intention to make a right turn. So that's why you should activate your indicator well before in time, not at the last moment. You should not do that. Okay. Check mirrors and look over your shoulder. Very important when you are turning right. You should always look over your shoulder just before making the turn, just before entering making the cross. All right. Stay as close as possible to the right edge. Okay, the car here wants to turn right, so it must stay as close as possible to the edge of the road. Okay, give priority to the pedestrians, cyclists, mopeds going straight or crossing. So in this case, as you can see, this bicycle is continuing to go straight. So here it is a bicycle lane, but if it was not a bicycle lane, even if the bicycle was on the road and was continuing to drive straight, you must let the bicycle continue drive because the bicycle is not making any maneuver. When, however, the car that is turning right is making a maneuver. When you do a maneuver, you must always give priority to the other traffic road users. Okay, other road users. So if the bicycle is going straight or if pedestrians are crossing, you first let them cross. So looks like this car is trying to enter the private property, trying to make a right turn. The rules apply the same at the junction, at a private property. When you are turning right, just follow these things. Okay, important for your theory exam as well as practical. So when you make a right turn, your right turn should be very short, except in cases of lane choice and multi-lane traffic, okay, on the entered road. So here is an example. This car is trying to turn right, and the turn should be definitely short. So as you can see, it should be short because it should enter the rightmost lane. But within a built-up area, you have a choice. You can either enter the rightmost lane or the left lane here. So in that case, that's an option you can follow to make a right turn. All right. So there are a lot of exceptions, but you need to know the general rules. And in this case, turning right is a short turn. Okay, before Before we move to the left turn, let me quickly go back to quickly tell you something about our site. It's called drivingtheory.be. So let me go to the site and show you what it is. All right, so this is our site drivingtheory.be. So it has a lot of resources, very helpful resources. Now, for example, first thing is I just create an account and I log in. So once I log in, I can go to subscribe, and here you can see all the resources that we are offering, right? So you have full access to the exam we have more than 700 questions, practice questions, and you have 10 days access, 1 month and 2 months access. So you can take one of these plans if you want to practice more and more theory exams on our site. Then we have the free lesson access. This is the lesson that you're just watching. So I'm going to post that here. If you want to watch it here, you have to use this option. And you have a free full access 1 day quiz plan. Let's say you don't want to take any of these plan and you just want to test it, you can definitely test it for 1 day. It's absolutely free. Just sign up. You can use this button and then you can continue submitting. And then we have this ebook both in English and in Arabic, which is available for 6 months. So you can sign up for this for 27 euros. Now, in addition to that, if you want to buy the book, you can scroll up. There are theory books. So you can go to theory book, and here you have an option to buy the book. All right, so you can buy the book on Amazon.de. It is 42 euros or 41 euros, but on our site you get it for 35.99. All right. So similarly, you can also buy the Arabic book. It's not an ebook. Definitely, we have an ebook as a subscription, but if you want to buy a physical book, so you can use this link and you can continue checkout, and we will send you the Arabic book. All right, so back to the lesson. Okay, let's focus now on turning left, which is a little more advanced than turning right. So again, the same rules: activate the indicator in time, check the mirrors and the left side window. So you have to check the mirrors, and in addition, the left side window. While turning right, you had to look over the shoulder, but here you look through the left side window, just to make sure that no bicycles or pedestrians on the left are crossing over. You must position as far to the left as possible without obstructing others. All right. So it's basically we should have made this much clearer, but yes, this is also not the correct position. The car should still be on the okay. In this case, the car should be on the left lane because it is trying to turn left. Let me correct that real quick. Okay, I made the correction. So as you can see, the car wants to turn to its left. In one direction, there are two lanes in this direction. So the car moves to the left lane. The other cars that want to turn right stays on the right lane. So now, as you can see, it is making a long turn, a big turn, because it has to enter to the right side of this road here. Okay, so the car, when it completes the turn, it must enter to the right. Again, the exceptions are within a built-up area or some other exceptions, but the usual case is a left turn is a longer turn compared to a right turn. Okay. Make the turn as wide as possible and end up on the right side of the lane. Exceptions there are, of course, when there are multiple lanes or when there is within built-up area, for example. Okay. Now, how about priority? Priority when you are turning left, always. Now let's say this car wants to turn left and this green car wants to go straight. In that case, remember, we just spoke about this a few minutes back. Whenever you are making a turn, you are doing a maneuver, and the other car, green car, is going straight, which means it is not doing any maneuver. So the red car must give priority to the green car. So remember this, just like when you're turning right, you give priority to the bicycles or the pedestrians that are traveling straight. The same case applies here. When you are turning left, you give priority to the vehicles that are driving straight. All right. Oncoming traffic, that's what we call them. Now, You always give priority to the pedestrians, cyclists, and moped because they would also be crossing here on the left. So give priority to them. Now, there are some conditions when you are turning left. Okay, how do you turn left? Now, it's quite important that you know the difference. There are two ways that you can turn left. All right, there is this way on the left, and there is this right. So, if there are road signs, okay, if there are road signs, just follow those. In this case, there is a road sign that says turn before you cross. Don't cross, just turn, right? So the cars are not crossing each other. Crossing is, as we have said, the cars from the opposite direction drive past each other. Now this car would go straight and this car would go straight. Okay, that's crossing. But here the road markings say just turn, don't cross. So this car will turn, come till here and make a turn. The green car will come till here, make a turn. Okay, turn before cross. That's what it says. Now, like I said, if there are road signs, just follow the road signs. And this road sign says cross first and then turn. So this car is crossing the green car till here. This green car crosses the red car till here, and then they make a turn. Okay, so just following the road signs. Now, if there are no road signs, what is the default way or what's the general way? Cross first and then make a turn. That's how you do it. Okay, because that's the way you should do it. If you don't do that, you will be obstructing traffic. So first you have to cross each other, and that also helps you because you kind of reach the edge here, and then you can easily make a left turn and you can land on the rightmost part of the road. Okay, the default or the general or the regular way without any road markings is first you have to cross and then you make a left turn. Okay, that's for the vehicles that want to turn left. All right, let's continue. By the way, if you have any questions, you can put those in the chat option or in the in the comments option, and then I'll try to reply to those questions. Okay, and if you go to our site drivingtheory.be, we have a support through WhatsApp as well as support through email and form. You can use those options also to reach to us. Now let's talk about maneuvers. Like maneuver is something that requires you to give priority as a driver. Okay, always give priority to road users because always use indicators when you're doing a maneuver. Maneuver is basically something where you leave your lane and enter a different road or you enter a different lane. Okay, those are all maneuvers. So the moment you leave your lane, that's you must give priority to the other road users. For example, what are maneuvers? Changing lanes. For example, when you are overtaking, you change from the right lane to the left lane and back to the right lane from left lane. So that's maneuver. Entering or leaving a parking space because then you have to cross the sidewalk, you're making a right turn. Those are all maneuvers. Making a right turn, making a left turn, coming out of a property, turning around or reversing, these are all part of maneuvers. Okay. Now let's talk about roundabouts. This is also part of a junction. What you roundabout is, so where multiple roads meet. Now on a roundabout, the universal rule, general rule, it's always a one-way traffic. You will never drive left on a roundabout. Okay, you will drive only in one direction. So you should never turn left at a roundabout. You always drive in anti-clockwise. Okay, on a roundabout. That's how you drive here in Belgium. When you are entering a roundabout, you should watch out for this roundabout sign here and then give priority sign. So these are the things that indicate roundabout. When you are entering the roundabout, give priority and there is no need for you to use indicators. Always when you enter roundabout, you will see this shark teeth. Like here, you see the shark teeth. Here also you see the shark teeth. When you exit the roundabout, always use indicator. Okay. When you are exiting, you have to you have to let the traffic behind you or the road users behind you know that you will be taking this exit or the next exit or whatever. Watch out for cyclists. So cyclists important. Sometimes the cycle path is part of the roundabout. Like in this example, you see this cycle bicycle lane is part of the roundabout, which means what? The moment it becomes a part of roundabout, you must give priority to the traffic. You must always, before entering a roundabout, you must always give priority to the traffic that is on the roundabout. Okay, so now the bicycle lane is also part of the roundabout, so you give priority to them before you enter a roundabout. There's also a case where the bicycle lanes are not part of the roundabout, then it's a regular bicycle crossing. You know, at a bicycle crossing, bicycles do not have a priority. There will be a shark teeth for the bicycles. Okay, so let's continue. Bicycle lanes. It will we will discuss that later in this lesson. Okay, so we have reached at the end of the section, and I want to just pause here and ask you something. Let me know, because I'm planning to make this collection of theory science for Belgium. So maybe it will be a small PDF book or it will be a published book. I don't know, but definitely not a training. I'm not planning to explain all the boards, but it could be a good reference for you to keep and then refer to those science before your theory or practical exam. Let me know if you think that such a book will be useful, and I'll create a book and I will make that available. So let's quickly look at the traffic signs, and these are the traffic signs related to junctions or driving straight and turning. So basically on the left, let's start from the left. So these are kind of priority signs, even though this is a prohibition sign. This is a sign that you will see at a lane, at a road that has been narrowed. So these two signs always goes together. When you see, as I said, red circle, red is always pay attention. Okay, like you see red here, you see red here, here red, here red, pay attention. It's very important to pay attention. And what is red circle? Red circle is always prohibition. And this case, it's a red circle. Now, what is there? Black and red lines and the other white and red lines. It's confusing. For me, a red circle means prohibition. So once you see this board, it means that you must give priority. Okay. And the other side of the road, they would have this rectangular board, which is information board. And if you see this information board, you can be rest assured that the oncoming traffic will have this board. In that case, they will give priority to you. Okay. Now, this is this warning triangle. Always inverted triangle. Sorry, it's not a warning. Always inverted triangle is a priority triangle. Now, this triangle indicates basically for the bicyclist that they can continue to drive right or straight, indicated by the arrows, even when the traffic light is red or red or orange, but they must give priority. Okay. Now, coming back to the signs here, these are all, like I just said, these are all prohibition signs. Don't do something. And here is a prohibition to entry. This is a prohibition for all the traffic. This is prohibition for vehicles with more than two-wheelers, even including even including bikes with the side carriage. So that's why you see how important it is to make a book or PDF with all the road signs and then clear explanation of those road signs in English. All right, then you can always use it for reference. So let me know in the comments below, and then I will try to make one such book available. These are prohibitions to turn right, left, and similarly there could be a right, there will be a right sign. And this is a prohibition to make a U-turn, or okay, and where it is U-turn from this board. Whenever you see this board, from that board, including the next junction. Including the next junction, you cannot make a U-turn, and the junction thereafter, you can definitely make a U-turn. Okay. Now, like I said, red means, watch out. Now, again, I would say another thing. Round is also important. Round is also very important. Now, these are all round boards prohibitions, red round boards prohibitions. Now you have blue round boards. Obligations. Do it. Blue roundabouts are also very important. They mean you should do it this way. Here it says you should not do it. Here it says you should do it. Okay. Here it says at the next junction, continue going straight, because any other direction there would probably be a prohibition sign like this. Now, this is another obligation board which says at the next junction, go straight or left. You should not, you're not allowed to take any other direction. And blue boards, by the way, they could be placed anywhere on the road. Okay, like these boards here, the red boards, they will be placed on the right side of the road. They could be repeated on the left. Okay, the information boards, all the boards, they would be placed on the right. They could be repeated on the left, except for the blue boards. They are placed where they are best visible. Okay, like for example, this roundabout board, where is it placed? Is it placed on the right? No, it is placed straight ahead where there is a roundabout. So this board also indicates the direction of traffic that should be on the roundabout. All right, always in a anti-clockwise direction, in the opposite direction of the clock. Okay. Next, we have some information boards here. Now, this is also related to boards at the junction. So the first board. So these are information boards are, for you information. If you don't follow them, there it's not an offense. At the next junction, this pre-sorting of lanes where it is advised for the traffic that want to go left, they have to pre-sort on the left. The traffic on the right and straight, they have to pre-sort on the right lane. Okay, so this is a board which indicates where the bicycles are allowed to stop when there is a red light, and stopping line for the bicycles as well as for the other traffic. Now this is a bus lane. It's not a reserved bus lane, it's a bus lane. You must not continue driving on this, but you are allowed to take this bus lane a little bit to take a right turn or left turn. Okay. Now, in addition to that, there is another reserved special bus and tram lanes. So these are reserved lanes. In this case, you think of this as a river. So here there's way for you to continue driving. Here there's a way for the oncoming traffic to continue driving. There is a river in between, and you should never drive on this river. You cannot drive on this river. The only way you can cross from right to left or left to right is when you have those checkered boards, and you have to use those as bridges to make a crossover, but never continue driving on this bus lane. The only exception would be when there is an obstacle on your side of the road. All right. Now, at a traffic junction also, you don't drive on a bus lane or tram, you just make a left turn. Okay, just make a left turn at the traffic lights. Using what? Using the checkered markers. Now, this is also another information board which tells you that this is a one-way street. Okay, now it's a one-way street. When you see this, you can be rest assured that there will be no oncoming traffic. Of course, there could be exceptions. There could be bicycles which are allowed on the road. But when you see this board, the oncoming traffic or the other side of the road will have this prohibition sign. Okay. Now, other information signs, like this is a dead end road. This is a dead end road, but exception, bicycles and pedestrians can cross over. This is a pedestrian crossing. This is the place where you have those zebra crossings. Always give priority to the pedestrians at a pedestrian crossing. But where there are traffic lights, follow the traffic lights. Now, similarly, like a pedestrian crossing, we have a bicycle crossing. These boards are put at the place where there is crossing. There could be a warning board which is placed 150 meters ahead of this crossing to warn the drivers that 150 meters ahead there is a pedestrian crossing and bicycle crossing. Just be careful. All right. Now, at the bicycle crossing, there is no priority for the bicycles. That's the difference between pedestrian crossing and bicycle crossing. Pedestrian crossings have priority at the zebra crossing. Bicycles don't have priority at the bicycle crossing. We have already discussed about bicycle crossing in the previous lesson. You can follow that. More to come. We will talk about a lot in the coming lessons. How does it look like? Why there is no priority? We will talk about that in the next lessons. Now, The last part of the information board, this is again for the traffic that is wanting to turn left, turning right, that it indicates the boards or the type of road users that they should watch out for when they are making a left turn. So here, when they are making a left turn, there are pedestrian crossings, so they must watch out for them, give priority to them. Similarly, there are pedestrian and bicycle crossings, and here, when they are turning right, there could be bicycles. All right, so I hope you have enjoyed this lesson, and we will meet you in the next lesson where we will talk about speed. And let me quickly tell you what we will talk about speed in the next lesson. So in the next lesson, we will talk about speed. Just always adapt your speed limits. What are the environments, zones? What is the difference? What is the speed limits on a motorway? How is overtaking done? What are the prohibitions? When you are merging into a lane, how do you do that? Braking distance, braking and stopping distance, and then an overview of traffic signs. So this one is a relatively big lesson. I will do that in the next lesson, so it might be more than 1 hour, but I hope you will enjoy it, and we will see each other again next time. Thank you.